Welcome to History's Best News Channel, where we inform you of all important historical events and figures. Our first story today is about Europe. Currently, the Western Roman Empire has fallen to Germanic invaders, leaving the eastern half. Now we will switch to a reporter in Eastern Europe.
I am currently here in Eastern Europe, where the Byzantine Empire is still strong, with the current ruler being Justinian. While Western Europe is split into many different tribes and kingdoms, because of Vikings and Germanic invaders, the Byzantine Empire remains in all its glory at its peak of power, influence, and geography. The two regions also have different religions after the Great Schism, which split the churches into the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church. They are alike because they both have a Bible, church hierarchy, missionary activity, and intolerance of other religions. Now I will send it over to our interviewer, who is getting a private interview with Emperor Justinian right now.
Thank you, Olivia. So Justinian, I heard you're getting married?
Yes, I'm marrying the actress Theodora, but to do this, I have to make marriage legal.
Well, congrats to you and your family. Can you name some of the accomplishments you've achieved under your reigns?
I recodified Roman law and renamed it Justinian's Code. I have built some of the most famous structures in the Byzantine Empire, such as the Hagia Sophia and the Hippodrome. And I also sent armies out to reconquer Western Europe lands, which is very costly, but it's worth it.
Thank you for your time, Justinian. Now back to the studios.
As said in the beginning of the show, Western Europe is split into many different kingdoms and tribes because of Germanic invasions. We have a reporter there right now.
I am currently in Western Europe over in the Frankish kingdoms, which is one of many different kingdoms. Others include the Angles, Saxons, Magyars, and Germans. The current ruler Charlemagne, who we will be having an interview with him later. After the fall of the Roman Empire, there was no longer a central government, so people organized themselves in feudal societies. Now, another area that has a feudal system is Japan. Those systems were highly militaristic, had the aristocrats controlling the peasants, and developed a more stable centralized government. But in Europe, they emphasized contractual ideas more than Japan. Warfare confined to the warrior landlord class, while Japan relied more heavily on group and individual loyalties, leaving many problems with samurais. Now over to Olivia for the interview.
Welcome everyone. I am with none other than King Charlemagne. Charlemagne, what are some of the biggest impacts you have made during your reign?
I have enlarged my empire to include Germany, Italy, and France. Since I promote education, I have encouraged ministries to open schools for the people and a palace for the aristocrats. Also, I have ended the Dark Ages.
And in this new empire, what religion are you planning on promoting?
As the first Holy Roman Emperor, I will be promoting Roman Catholicism.
Okay, now back to Alexa in the studios.
The next region we'll be visiting is East Asia. On the mainland, we've had many different dynasties rule, including the Shang, Zhao, Qin, Han, and Sui dynasty, in that order. Recently, the Sui dynasty, which had the first empress in China history, has been overthrown by a new dynasty, and our reporter is there right now.
Yes, it was reported that Empress Wendy was murdered by her son, who was assassinated by his ministers, and one of the son's officials held China together and stopped China from entering chaos. Thus, the Tang dynasty was born. These new emperors that descended from the Turks will be influenced by the cultures of Central Asia. The Tangs will extend empire borders, repair the Great Wall, and rebuild the bureaucracy that the Han had to become more powerful. The scholar gentry class will fill most of the high government officials. The Tang dynasty will also later build the Grand Canal that will connect the Yangtze River and the Huanghe River. Even though China had empress in the last dynasty, women were still inferior to men.
There isn't much to say like most civilizations. They rely on trade and agriculture for their economy. They farm cocoa beans, cotton, peppers, and corn. They have a 365-day calendar, a number system, and ball courts. They also have their own writing system showing how intellectual this civilization is. Now back to Alexa.
Finally, the last place we'll be visiting tonight will be the sub-Saharan Africa. During this time, Islamic culture was spread by Arabs and Berbers, who had adopted the camel to travel through the Sahara. It was also spread by merchants and missionaries to coastal regions. Merchants mostly traded gold, salt, and ivory. People used new forms as money, such as paper bills, checks, and banking houses adopted from Europe. The trans-Saharan trade route led to the rise of Sudanic states. The current ones are in Great Zimbabwe and the Kingdom of Ghana. There are also the Swahili states on the coast of Africa. Now to our reporter in Great Zimbabwe.
I am currently in the heart of Great Zimbabwe. This kingdom has dominated Central Africa since it was first created. They built massive stone enclosures called Zimbabwe, hence the name. They supplied gold for the Swahili states that were founded by the Bantu settlers and who also play a major role with the Indian Ocean Trade Network. And back to Alexa in the studios.
To begin our show today, we will be visiting Eastern Europe. Not much has changed since we last visited.
The Byzantine Empire is still ruling, which means the religion in that region is still Orthodox Christianity. There are still cheer races happening every Sunday, blue versus greens. The difference is that the Crusades decline the power and wealth of the empire. This will make it easier for the Ottoman Turks to take it over in the future.
Once again, we will be visiting the Western Europe. The Crusades between the Muslims and the Christians for the Holy Land had ended a while ago, but the effects of them are still there. Negative effects included Jews were persecuted, Byzantine Empire, and feudal systems have declined. Positive effects include towns and cities grew, trade between Western Europe and Asia increased, and Eastern technology was introduced in Western Europe. Not long ago, the Magna Carta was written, guaranteeing nobles certain rights. Now a beginning of war is approaching between France and England, who will win the 100 Years' War. To a reporter in the Western Europe region.
Tensions have risen between England, which was conquered by William the Conqueror not long before the First Crusades, and France, which was developed by Hugh Capet after the end of the Carolingian dynasty ended. The 100-Year War is closing in, and who will have the upper hand?
Some things have stayed the same from the last time we visited. We still have the feudal system, even though it has weakened considerably, as well as the Catholic Church, because of the Crusades. This will continue because something worse than the war is coming. You'll have to stay in tune to find out. Some things that did change were the land territories are now kingdoms with kings instead of emperors. Breaking news! Yes, it has happened. The Mongols have finally taken China. After so long of living in the steppes of Central Asia, trying to conquer China, the Mongols have done it. The last time we were there, the Tang dynasty was ruling, but now a new dynasty has risen to rule.
The new dynasty that is ruling as China is the Yuan dynasty, and the current first emperor of the dynasty is Genghis Khan. We will be able to talk to him later. The border of the China and Mongol empires probably tripled in size compared to what it was when the Tang dynasty was ruling. The scholars in China see the Mongols as intruders and barbarians, so they dismantled the old Confucian exam systems and they were hostile to all Mongols. Also, the Mongols took over in China and the Mongols still retain Chinese rituals and music. They also used the Chinese calendar and made sacrifices to ancestors.
Both the Tang and Yuan dynasty relied on trade and farming for their economy. During the Tang dynasty, they built the Grand Canal to help with their agriculture. Also, during the Tang dynasty, Chinese culture and Turkish culture was being combined, while during the Yuan dynasty, Chinese culture is being mixed with Mongolian culture. Both dynasties wanted to expand their land, and the Yuan dynasty was more successful with that goal.
I am here with Genghis Khan. How are women treated in Mongol society?
Women had a higher status in society because while the men were out hunting, the women were gathering food.
And then what is the biggest achievement you have made during your reign?
I've made the Silk Road so safe that an old woman, can walk all the way across the Silk Road with gold coins in her hands without even being touched.
Now back to the studios.
A lot has changed since we last visited the Americas. The Mayan dynasty has collapsed for mysterious reasons, and two new civilizations have risen. The first one, and the one we will be visiting, is the Inca civilization, located in the Andes Mountains. The other is the Aztec civilization, which is located in southern Mexico. Both of these civilizations have central governments and empires, unlike the Mayans, which had a theocracy. Now to our reporter.
We are in the Incan civilization high in the Andes Mountains. The Incan civilization, just like the Mayan civilization, has a polytheistic religion that includes human sacrifices, But the only difference is that the Incans sacrifices animals too, and they only do it for special occasions. Another thing that stayed the same is the civilization still rely on farming for the economy, not so much on trade. The Incas focused on using terrace farming, irrigation system, and flat-top pyramids to help with farming.
Finally, the last place we'll be visiting again is the Sub-Saharan Africa region. Last time we visited, we had a reporter in the Ghana Kingdom, which has now fallen because of nomadic raids from the Sahara. Now the main kingdom is the Kingdom of Mali, located on the coast right next to where the Kingdom of Ghana used to be. We have a reporter there right now.
Suna Diatta, the Lion Prince, and the Maling people created this empire. The Maling culture was practiced by large portions of the population instead of Islamic culture. The society was ordered into clans, and many of the societies were matrilineal. The Maling economy relied on agriculture because most of the people were rural farmers. They did have trade, though, and a special merchant class called the Hula controlled it. Slave trade also became common after the Islamic conquest of North Africa.
Even now, the region still relied on agriculture and trade for their economy, but the Malinki had a special people to control the trade, kind of like the guilds in Europe. There was still lots of gold in trade, and a man named Mansa Musa became a legend because of his actions with the gold. Unlike during the Ghana Kingdom, where Islam culture was popular, during the Mali Kingdom, the Malinki culture was superior. Thank you for watching and have a good evening.